Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Curfew Boys podcast. It is Monday, February 10th, 24 hours after the biggest sports event in, I'd say, in the world, or at least in North America. Myself, Sammy, with my boy, Anxious Anthony. A newly shaved man, Justin Anthony
up.
Bieber. You don't like it?
I had a nice beard going, and then I went to fix something, and then my OCD kicked in, and I shaved it all off, and now, I look like a child.
You look like a child. You look like a good man. You look like a man-child. Well, it's good to see you anyways, bud. Listen, to all of our listeners and followers out there, thank you so much for tuning in on a brand new episode live on YouTube and Twitter, also known as X. Please like and subscribe. It is absolutely free. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow this Montreal Canadiens fan community that we keep trying to grow every day. All of our episodes are available in audio format on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Google Podcasts as well. And if you're seeing some brand new logo underneath us, this episode of the Curfew Boys from now on is sponsored by the very famous Habs Cave. Listen, if you're a Habs fan and you dream of having your man cave look like you're the biggest fan in the world, well, guess what? Go to Habs Cave on Instagram. Check out our boy Sunil's pictures and videos of what his man cave looks like, and he'll put all Habs fans out there to shame. Sunil, buddy, this one's for you.
He would put every man to shame when having that basement. Fuck.
And it's funny because he also has a separate section where he's got like other sports memorabilia. He's got Batman stuff, Star Wars stuff. Like the nerd in me freaks out every time. We've been invited to Sunil's Habs Cave quite a few times for a couple of fundraisers and great events too. Sunil, this one goes out to you. Thank you so much for sponsoring us. This episode is sponsored by Habs Cave. Follow Habs Cave on Instagram. Telling you all, you guys are gonna love it. Anthony,
and we also have an episode 230. If you guys want to take a listen live at the Habs Cave, you can watch it on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify, but watch us on YouTube with that episode because you get to see his basement and us sitting on his couch and having an amazing, fantastic conversation about the Habs a few months ago. And we'll get there, what we were talking about then and where we're at now. It's crazy, but
it's funny to look back on that. First of all, that was our very first live in-person episode that we did with since we started this whole podcast. That was a whole lot of fun doing it in the basement. Like, what a way to start off a very first in live episode. And yeah, go listen back to those types of conversations and fast forward to what the Montreal Canadiens look now. You might be scratching your heads and wonder what the heck happened, but also today, or tonight I should say, we have a very special guest with us to discuss not just the Habs but also Super Bowl 59. Listen, this guy right here played in the CFL. He's a two-time Grey Cup champion, one with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and one with the Ottawa Redblacks. Please give a warm welcome to Christopher Milo. How's it going, bud?
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to join us, man. How are things?
Very well. Yourselves?
Can't complain.
So,
I mean,
if we're starting, wait, we're talking about the Habs or Super Bowl. If we're starting Super Bowl talk,
I guess
as a Pats fan, I'm very happy this morning and this afternoon and tonight, and for a long time going. If you still are talking about Mr. Mahomes in the Brady talk, and if you're talking about KC in the Dynasty talk, shut the fuck up for now.
Okay.
I gotta say it. I gotta say it.
It's not for now. It's I think that story is put to rest.
Let's put that to rest for now.
That'll never change. To be the best, you gotta beat the best.
Yes, exactly. I want to ask you, and he hasn't beat the best. We've beat him so many times. But anyways, I'm just curious to know first off, I mean, yes, you're a CFL player, but in the NFL side of things, who's your favorite team? I didn't ask you this before, backstage.
Your cap says it pretty much for me as well.
Oh my God!
Fan. I went to my first game. I think I was about 4 or 5 years old, and at old Foxborough back in the day, they were playing the Niners actually. The Steve Young, Jerry Rice days, and my uncle was obviously my godfather, huge Niners fan, and did everything to try to get me to convert to be part of the faithful, and I got one of those big blow up hats, helmets from back in the day. I don't know if you remember those, but
Yeah,
you do.
And he forced me to buy a Niners one, so it is what it is. But yeah, that was my first game. It was pouring rain. We got blown out, but obviously enjoyed the experience and been back many times since. So
amazing.
That's awesome. Well, it looks like the three-peat's going to have to wait. So, yeah, I guess listen, I went into this game and I'm not afraid to admit this. I'm not the biggest, like, I enjoy the game of football. I really do, both CFL and NFL. I don't know much about stats and players aside from the quarterbacks and like the famous ones, but I went into this game thinking that I really thought it was going to be tight. I thought it was going to be tight. And obviously, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe a lot of people put the Eagles as the underdogs simply because it's against KC and against Patrick Mahomes. But I really thought yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to give him the benefit of the doubt for sure. He's he's a 3-time champ, and
Exactly.
you gotta give him that. And but the Eagles have kind of progressed in a way that was phenomenal down the stretch. And to be honest, I thought it would have been a bit tighter game. I mean, I don't think nobody expected the kind of game that we got.
Nope.
But they came out firing, and they just never let go of the gas. And you know what? You want to win a championship, but that was kind of like how do you say it? The perfect way to do it. Every phase, offensively, defensively, special teams, like they didn't miss a beat. It was incredible to watch. It was like one of those flawless performances, and
it was a perfect performance by the Eagles. I mean, they just destroyed them from the get-go. Like
this was a perfect. I correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I truly believe this was a perfect definition of defense winning championships.
And offense as well. I mean,
it was, I think for me, the perfect definition of everybody executing to their utmost potential. It was, like no matter who was on the field for the Eagles, someone was making a play.
It was,
it seemed a step and a half ahead. Like they knew what was coming. They knew how to beat certain things, and Dejan had made an amazing play that just really blew the game open, and that was the end of that. So yeah, for me, performance from the Italian.
Exactly. Like, I mean, in past Super Bowls, you see, defense winning the game or offense winning the game. But in this specific game, I mean, Eagles just played a perfect game all around. And,
very complete.
There was no controversy. I know we all talk about the script and we talk about the penalties.
No, you talk about the script.
Yes, I talk about the script, and I'm not going to talk about it now because the Eagles rewrote the script last night, which I'm happy about. But all jokes aside, we talk about the script. We talk about the refs siding with one team all the time, and a lot of controversy. Yesterday was just a perfect game all around. I mean, maybe you want to call the first penalty of the game controversial, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The game was just, again, Eagles played a perfect game all around. As a Pats fan, yes, I was very happy. As an NFL fan, I was a bit disappointed only because, again, coming into this game, we all NFL fans want to see, or pretty much everybody who wants to watch the football game, a football fan, a Super Bowl fan, or just a sports fan itself, you always want to see that Super Bowl championship back and forth to the wire type game.
Yeah.
And we didn't get that today. And usually when you see a defensive team versus an offensive team, you might get a defensive game or whatever. But this game, because of the powerhouse KC had and the powerhouse Philly had, I thought it was going to be to the wire. I thought it was going to be a defensive game on both ends because they would be playing very tight game. And just, again, I actually thought it was going to go to either overtime or right to the end. I didn't expect a blowout. Now, again, as a Pats fan, fucking happy. As an NFL fan, I was bored. I'm not going to lie. It was just a boring game overall because you just saw a one-sided game.
Yeah.
Especially what you were expecting with two powerhouses. You wanted to see a crazy game. Like, let's rewind to 2 weeks ago, the Eagles Bills game. Sorry, the KC Bills game. That was a Super Bowl style game. That's a game any NFL fan or sports fan wants to see. Back and forth shootout game. Basically, the last play of the game decides the winning team. That's what you want to see. And as a fan, that's what I was hoping to see yesterday. I think we all thought we were going to get that. So the blowout really was disappointing to see as a fan. But as a Pats fan, I was fucking happy. So,
Jesus. Well, if there's one thing I thought Kansas City could, again, I'm just going based on like what I saw. Like I don't know the depths of and the details of the game in terms of strategy, but Kansas City's O-line couldn't protect Mahomes at all. Like at all. Like that was crazy to me because usually you like and I think they knew that too because if you give Mahomes all the time in the world, I think that's where he beats you. Man, they gave Mahomes nothing. This has to go down probably as one of his worst games in his career or as
yeah, I think you're right. I think it is or it was one of his worst. But that Eagles D line is just relentless. And
they were nuts. They were nuts.
Yeah, they didn't allow him to get out of the pocket, and when they did, everyone was covered downfield, and he had nowhere to throw, making bad choices, not reading coverages properly, and when have you ever seen him kind of throw the ball randomly like that, and not seeing that guy, and so it was, like I said, it kind of reminded me of the Buccaneers Raiders Super Bowl where their defense just went off. And I think they had two pick sixes, I believe, in that game. It was, just, a pure defensive masterclass, and that amounted to huge amount of points and kind of garbage points down the end for the visiting or the other team. So, yeah, it was perfect game for the Eagles. You can't ask for anything better than that.
You can't ask for anything better.
No kidding. And to me, I really thought they were in trouble when I don't ask me to pronounce his name. I don't even remember his name when the young rookie did the interception. I think it's his birthday.
Yeah, it was his birthday. Yeah.
It was his birthday. Top it all off too.
As well, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it was both their birthdays yesterday. And if you guys are numbers people, I'm kind of a freak with numbers and things like that. But if you add up both their numbers and the numbers, it adds up to 59, which is was kind of cool.
There's your script, Anthony, right there.
There's my script.
No, for real though. I also thought that I thought the Chiefs were starting to readjust themselves too little, too late. And just when I thought that he's got to Mahomes had to start going with a little bit of the shorter passing plays. By that point, it was a little too late. Like end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, like the game was done by then. But
Brady did it. The 27-3 game. I mean, look, a real quarterback, a GOAT can turn things around with 3 minutes left in the third quarter, down 27-3.
You're such a shit.
A real quarterback could have turned things around. Joey was getting mad at me yesterday in our texts.
Yeah, Chris, you need to meet our boy Joey. Like we call him the stats man Joe because him too. He's good with numbers. He's good with stats. He enjoys that stuff.
Joey was saying, the O-line this, the O-line that. Yes, I mean Atlanta stopped Brady and the Pats for 3 fucking quarters. We just put 3 points on the board for 3 quarters. 3 minutes left of the fourth. You thought the game was over, but hey, Brady turned things around because he has the right mindset. A real quarterback, a real GOAT. So Joey, if you want to talk about the O-line, and all that bullshit crap that you mentioned yesterday, a true quarterback could turn things around like this. So you know what? No, all jokes aside, listen. I'm always gonna be that type of guy. Like I like to fuck around and joke around, but
Okay, I like to fuck around too, but in a certain case, and it's not, it wasn't, to the level that it needed to be, and even when they won their Super Bowls, they had probably one of the best in the league, and to be honest, it was kind of one of the more mediocre to subpar O lines in the league, going against the Eagles D line that was probably up there in the top 3 in the league. So, whoever wins that battle usually, in most, I'm not going to say 99% of the cases, but let's say in 9 out of 10 times, whoever wins the trenches is gonna win the game. And the Eagles did that on both sides of the ball. Saquon didn't have a monster game, but it's just clock management. And when he wasn't running, then Jalen was running. So, at the end of the day, you're still, as long as you're holding on to the football, you're putting up points, your defense is putting up points. So at the end of the day, it's like, hey, everything's functioning. Everything was going right, and everything was going wrong for KC. So
exactly. I mean, look, all jokes aside,
it's kind of saying that's it, and you've had your fun, and it's time. Maybe we'll see a new dynasty. Who knows with the Eagles? So
I mean, look, all jokes aside, I mean, I like to poke fun, but at the end of the day, Joey, I still respect people that have talent, and I'm not going to throw that away from KC and Mahomes. I still respect the guy. I'm not going to be a Mahomes hater like the Brady haters. I will give respect to those who deserve it. He just had a really bad game yesterday.
But I think I could say this though. Every time Mahomes has lost, he comes back strong again. So I listen. If he goes back to the Super Bowl next year, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised.
Back and forth.
To be honest, I made a point where I wouldn't be surprised if they're a non-playoff team next year.
You know what? I thought, I had a feeling just based off, again, the last couple of games they had during the season, there was something about them. I really felt like they didn't have that much momentum going into these playoffs. And even though they made the finals, even though they made the Super Bowl finals, I really felt there was something off with this team this year. Again, just based off the couple last games that I saw that they lost, or just those 2-3 losses, the way they lost, I don't know. It felt like it kind of. I think it told everyone that no, this team is actually beatable.
Yeah, and the amount of, I think, how many wins they have that were kind of last minute plays, or
yes.
They could have easily been like an 8-9 team, and missed the playoffs completely, So it's the bounces, or however you want to call them, went away, and a few calls went away, and here we are back in the Super Bowl, and but I don't know if they'll be back.
I hope the Bills make it.
Listen, it's gonna have to be their time eventually. I'm kind of hoping, the team like the Bengals kind of put a defense around Joe Burrow, because he puts up all kinds of numbers, and especially with Chase there for the long haul. So it's a team like that could be, who's already beaten KC to get to the Super Bowl. So a team like that, who kind of fell off a little bit the last couple of years, would be nice to see go back. It would be nice to see, let's say, him versus Allen. Like a Burrow Allen.
I respect Allen. I'm not going to hate on him, but just put a different jersey on, and I hope you win the Super Bowl, but not with the Bills. The Bills are my Toronto Maple Leafs as a Habs fan. It is what it is.
For me, this because my sister's a Dolphins fan. So.
I hate Miami too, Bills are my Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think Miami's like my Boston Bruins, whatever. But last thing about football, I mean, if you guys want to talk to all other fans out there about, you said it right before, or one of you said about KC not being a playoff team next year. To be honest, I think if Mahomes wants to beat the Tom Brady records and become that GOAT style like Tom Brady. I see it happening in another team. I just don't see KC being the Patriot dynasty, and I don't see Mahomes being the Tom Brady for KC. I think KC is going to go downhill now. I just don't see them rebuilding and becoming that dynasty. I say that if Mahomes gets traded to another team, he could be that guy and give another team the opportunity to win it, but I don't see it happening anymore with KC. I think KC is falling apart now. This whole Travis Kelce shit and all that crap. Anyways, and last thing about Super Bowl, and then we can jump into our Habs. I am so happy. Like, look, again, as a Pats fan, I didn't want anybody to win yesterday. I just hope that in the second quarter, the electricity went off and just no game had to finish and no Super Bowl this year. But if I had to choose one, aside of the hate of KC and all that stuff, I was really happy for Saquon. I really wanted this game and this win for Saquon. He deserved it after the year he had.
I agree.
And a big fuck you to the Giants. Being a Giants fan or being in management of the Giants, to not re-sign him at the end of the year and not giving him what he deserved.
I agree.
And then he says, you know what, fuck you, I'm going somewhere else, and then wins the Super Bowl right after that. It must fucking burn you right now, Giants fans. And I hate the Giants again, because being a Pats fan, we hate the Giants. That to me was a perfect win yesterday. Like, fuck you, Giants. Fuck KC.
Yeah,
fuck
Giants. Fuck season record, right? Like playoffs included. So I mean, had one of the best seasons the running backs had for in a long time. And
couldn't write a better story for this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. Great family guy. So like he's worked hard, and the stars aligned for him.
Well-deserved win for him. Well-deserved season. It just, you couldn't write a better story. Like, this is a perfect Netflix special. The Saquon story. Like, if you want to write a movie or show about it, his story is perfect. The Giants doesn't sign it. Just perfection.
What are you guys? All good. What did you guys think of the famous halftime show?
Oh, horrible.
It's all good. Chris, what did you think of the halftime show that everybody's talking about?
I didn't really watch it, to be very honest.
Okay, that's okay.
I didn't watch much of it. It's I don't know many of the people that were there, so it was because I was actually at a buddy's place. It was his son's first birthday, so we were just kind of hanging out with.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I didn't really care. I didn't care much for it because I don't know much of Kendrick Lamar's music. But then, you read about him dissing what's his face?
Drake?
Yeah, he's dissing Drake.
On the last
Serena was in too.
I have no idea. And then I enjoyed seeing Samuel Jackson as dressed up as Uncle Sam. Like I just love Samuel Jackson. That's why.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
But those just people are like, oh, Kendrick Lamar, he's sending a message out to Trump, and I'm like, listen, we're Canadian. I don't know if there's some message that I missed just because of my Canadian ignorance, but then they're like, yeah, no, he's dissing Drake and all that. That I read up
him
about.
And Drake have this
they have beef.
Yeah. That specific song that he's playing at the end was a song written for Drake. He wasn't supposed to play. Apparently, there was rumors that he wasn't supposed to play that live.
Yeah,
at the Super Bowl, he's getting fined for it. If that's true or not.
Okay.
So if you notice from beginning to end, that song kept being teased to be played, and then the song would be played till the end, and at the end, the tease came again, and we're like, okay, we're not going to hear this song, and then boom, the song was played, and it caused the whole big controversy, and then you say whatever. So that's the big talk about this halftime show. There was a comment about Trump. But all that aside, I mean, to me, if you're not a football fan or whatever, you look forward to the Super Bowl for the commercials and your halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
I think America and the entertainment industry fucked up on this halftime show. No, seriously, because if you really want people to watch, like, look, the Eminem and Jay-Z and all that 2 years ago was one of the highest rating view of the Super Bowl.
They did massive marketing about it too, though.
And the massive marketing was amazing, and I think that's what we need at Super Bowl. Like big stars. As much as I don't like Taylor Swift, she should have been fucking halftime.
Oh my God, he went there.
No,
he went there.
But as a money man, a guy who marketing and in business and everything, you need that for viewers. This whole Kendrick Lamar thing was, I think, very political, because all we're talking about, if you think about it, if you look at the news and on TikTok and X and this and that, it's no one's dissing the performance. No one's talking about how shitty it was. They're just focusing on the whole Trump thing and the Drake thing. So again, it became this, because of this generation, all politics shit. Like, fuck you. Like, that's no one, like, a few years ago when I don't know who it was, but it was a really bad Super Bowl halftime show, and everybody would write, when Bruno Mars did it, everybody hated it, and like, oh, it sucked. No one's talking about how much it sucked yesterday. People are just talking about the two main things.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that really didn't like it, but they're all hockey fans too, though, like me.
Yeah. So like, I think they fucked up on that halftime show. I hope next year they bring a bigger celebrity. Yeah. Bring back The Rock. I mean, me and Sam were Rock fans, like the Bon Jovis and the AC/DCs and the Metallicas, whatever. Like,
hey man,
in a long time we haven't seen that.
Prince was the
last one.
I remember the Michael Jackson one from 93 or 94. Right?
Exactly. It'll probably go down. Yeah, I think that'll go down as the best halftime show in history, maybe.
Coldplay was fan-fucking-tastic.
Coldplay was cool. I do remember Prince. I remember the Rolling Stones too. Like, it was 2003.
God was good too.
She was pretty good. Bruce Springs. I remember Bruce Springsteen when he slid, his crotch slid into the cameraman. I remember that. I'm mentioning Bruce Springsteen because I saw him this past summer and he was just freaking awesome. So yeah, it was fantastic at the Bell Center. Yeah, no, right. I mean, yeah, for totally right. You always expect the halftime show to be the show besides the game and the commercials. I mean, if you are a Kendrick Lamar fan and you enjoy his music, I would suspect that you would have enjoyed it.
It wasn't really but even that, even if I was a Kendrick Lamar fan, all he did was the same thing, just sing and walk. There was no.
It was like it was like a reflection of the game. It was just like the whole kind of thing was.
It's another part of the script.
I was telling the people I was I was watching like a week 2 game, like whatever, like the. Just a random game on a Sunday,
Oh man!
Monday night stupid games that they decide to put. Before we get into Habs, I want to ask you one question on behalf, like something about you and to relation to yesterday's Super Bowl. I mean, it's final game of the year. Being a CFL player or NFL player or NHL player or any sports, doesn't matter. You play for that final game, that big moment, and you've been to that moment and won it twice. So. Tell us, I mean, what's that feeling like? I mean,
what's the mindset? Like, how do you prepare yourself physically and mentally for that big stage to be a champion?
Yeah, it's an accumulation of just the work that you put in throughout the whole year, and knowing that the year before you probably weren't in the game most of the time, you weren't in that final game, so you always have that objective. And going into spring camp, and usually we have like you have a spring camp kind of in a remote location where kind of everybody gets together. And I remember in 2013 we went to Florida actually for spring ball. This was like in April or whatever it was, at the IMG Academy. I'm sure you guys have heard of that place.
Yep.
Just absolutely incredible facilities. Like it's. I think it's like $70,000 US to send your kid there. It's high school.
Yeah, they're nuts.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, if any of you guys have a chance, go see the IMG Academy in Florida. It's incredible. But we went there in 2013, and it was we just had we felt different. Like it was just I don't know. We knew that the game was at home. we knew that we knew what we needed to do to kind of get to that game, and we didn't want anybody, kind of coming into our house and lifting the trophy in our house, in our locker room, and spraying champagne in our place. Like that just wasn't going to happen. And so we had a really good spring camp. And then when main camp came around, it was just, it was like this, like really business-like, but in such a kind of a relaxed way and a fun way. It was probably one of the most fun times I've had playing football. It was that one and the 2015 season where we actually lost the Grey Cup. But yeah, it was just like we had guys come in, right guys come in at the right time. We had John Chick come back he was with the Colts, I believe, or Jacksonville. One of the two. He had just got released from camp, so he came back with us, and he was a huge name for us. And Ray Williams came along, Ricky Foley. We just had just all these guys that G-Roy Simon came, who's the best receiver in the history of the game. So we had guys that were winners, were leaders, were we were listening more to those guys than the coaching staff. Almost, it was like it we come to a point where it's like, the coaches are giving us the tools, and these guys are kind of putting everything together, and here we go. Like it was like a work-like mentality, and we were just destroying people. We went out to, I think it was like a 8-1 start. Like it was, and then the injuries came along like they usually do, and lost a few games here and there, but at the end of the day, like we were able to bounce back, and it was, we just had that kind of all go no quit mentality that we're playing at home. It was they had the big posters and logos all over the city of Regina, and celebration and Rider Nation, and here we go, and it was just an amazing year. One of great year for me, myself personally, even stats wise, and it was just a culmination of that and having everyone around you at the end, and the 45,000 people that were in the stands at the end with us. It was just, to be able to celebrate with them was incredible.
Oh, and there's nobody that can take those accomplishments away from you. I think that's the best part about it. And I love how you mentioned that you listen to specific veterans on your team. Like it made me think of right away the Canadiens Stanley Cup run. Like, I'm sure the players listen to guys like Carey Price. They listen to guys like Shea Weber. They listen to guys like Corey Perry, and they listen to guys like Eric Stahl. Like two guys that won the cup, but two other guys that won big stage moments for like Team Canada per se, in Weber and Price. And it's such a fact. It's so true, and I feel so good about this now, even more, that the importance of veteran leadership and having guys that won before.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the everyday fan doesn't realize how important that is.
No, it's
for any sport.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, your coaches will only take you so far, and if you don't know what it takes to win those games, how you ever going to know without having those guys who have been there and who've done that? And the guys that we had that year was just, it was just, like I said, it was just the perfect guys in the perfect spots, and the coaches didn't have to get on your ass because they did. And if someone was slacking, then it wasn't the coaches, it was us, it was amongst ourselves, and the fact that we had that between us, and that we had that bond where it's like, what, you're right, let's go, and
you know who else you could ask that? Ask anybody who won the cup in 1986 for the Canadiens, if they were listening more to Jean Perron, the coach, or if they were listening to already Hall of Famer Stanley Cup champions Larry Robinson and Bob Gainey. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, if you want to talk 2021, I mean, it's a joke, but I mean, everything you're saying is legitimate. Like, it's true. Like, I would listen to experience over our coaches. But I mean, in 2021, I would listen to fucking a fan than Dominic Ducharme. So you know what I
Jesus.
mean?
Oh boy.
I had to throw that in there.
You
Yeah,
didn't do too bad. You didn't do too bad for what he was given, and
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
I truly,
spot, but
yeah, exactly. All right, gentlemen, we're on the subject now. Oh boy. Where do we begin? Where our dear beloved Montreal Canadiens, winner of one in the last 9. I was about to say winner of the last 8, but that's definitely not true. Losers of 8 in their last 9 games. I really truly believe, gentlemen, that this 4 nations break could not have come at a better time. If there's, and I get it's the same thing for 31 other teams in the league right now. They all need a break, but if there's one team that really needed this break, maybe we're biased and we're hardcore fans, but this team needed it badly because right now I think they've truly hit a wall. And I don't think it's lack of effort. Mind you, some nights don't look. They some nights show that there could have been no effort. I just think their confidence right now is not there. I really believe, and a guy like Patrick Laine, who sort of admitted saying like, look, the body feels good, my confidence, not so much. I don't think the goalies are confident either. Since Caden Gooley went out with that injury, I really feel like defense is trying to do a bit too much, and when they make the mistakes, maybe the confidence goes down too. I don't know. It's tough to tell with this team. The only ones that are taking charge right now that I see has confidence is Josh Anderson. He's the only one that's been playing like a beast. Brendan Gallagher got 2 goals against Tampa Bay yesterday.
So this question is a question I'm asking myself every single day for the last 8 losses here. But perfect timing to have an athlete like yourself, Milo, on the show who's experienced, professional level sports, right? So I'm trying to understand something here, and maybe you're able to answer it. I don't know, or maybe it's different for everybody, or different athletes, or different sports. But you're a team, talking about the Montreal Canadiens, you're a team that struggle up and down all season. And then come December 15, you surprise the world. Okay? Like the Habs were the most talked team all over the league and everywhere on social media of how amazing this turnaround came. This whole rebuild in the mix talk just revived, and the confidence went crazy, and we were considered the best team in the NHL between December 15th and January, I forgot which date, but
yeah,
again, but like, just to say, you come from a slump to now perfection, to now a team who is the best out of all 32. They're gonna make the playoffs. They're on the path of making the playoffs. They're on the path of proving everybody wrong that they are gonna be a team in the mix. To then this downfall like this, it wasn't gradual. It was, you're winning 5-6 games in a row. All right. And then one loss comes in, and thinking you would, okay, yeah, you won 6 in a row, you lost 1. It's bound to happen. I think I said this in one episode, Sam. I said, guys, stop freaking out on that one loss. It's going to happen. We're not going to win the next 52 games.
Yeah.
We're going to lose. But then that loss became 2 losses, and then 3 losses, and then 1 win, okay, and then back to 1 loss. 2 So I'm trying to understand. Usually you get that downfall when you're not having a good season, but not after that perfect. I don't know how to explain it, but you as an athlete, like, what do you think is going on in that dressing room from that fucking high? It wasn't like okay, we won a couple of games, we're in the mix. No, we were perfect.
They were beating teams much stronger than them that are like high in the standings
like,
too.
What do you think happened from this to this? There's no
honestly, I think it's the question that everybody's kind of looking for answers to. You mentioned the goal injury. I'm going to go even the kind of a step even prior was the Heineman injury.
1,000%. Thank you so much.
Heineman is the glue, kind of, it seemed, that put everything together, and you lost one guy and everything went downhill. We won a few games. Dobie came in and kind of showed us what he's made of, and a nice glimpse as to hopefully what the future kind of holds for him. Banged out some amazing games. Obviously, a 945 save percentage isn't going to hold up the whole season. He's bound to have some ups and downs. Yesterday was kind of like a ash day. It happens. That third goal
for sure.
He couldn't get back, and he's trying to get back, and it is what it is. But timely injuries that happened. The Heineman number one, then Gouley, but you don't have guys that can come and replace these guys. And if you don't trade for these guys, you can't expect that same quality of play. Now, maybe you go a step further, and we're talking about what's going on in the locker room. I'm not really sure, but I've always kind of said that the team is a reflection of their coach. Where Marty Sammy is he's learning. I think he's in year 3 now. He just passed his third year 3. That's right. He just hit year 3 right now. Yeah, there you go. So he's kind of learning on the job, listen, my brother-in-law's got season tickets. I've been to a few games this year. I was at that Pittsburgh game that that 9-2 game or whatever the hell it was that we got.
Oh, brutal.
We were just kind of fed up, and I think Anderson had scored one at the end there. We're like, oh, great. Scored there. But and I've been telling them the whole season, it's like, look at St. Louis' body language.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you teach kids and players not to be like. Like you look at him behind the bench and he looks like, I don't know, like he doesn't look like himself in the sense that he's a very fiery guy. He's a vibrant guy. He's a competitive guy. He's a guy that you put all kinds of obstacles in his way, and he's going to find a way out of it. And he has this kind of grunt and this. But now you see him, and he's just like, I don't know, like he's got his hands on his knees and his chin on his wrist.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't want to be there. It's like, what, Marty? Listen, you don't want to be there. There's tons of people that want to be in your spot, but if you're going to act like that, how do you expect your team to act? If you're Italian, if you're mushy, if you're soft behind the bench, well, how do you think your guys are going to play? You think they're going to come up and they're going to be, and I don't know. I don't know if it's this new world mentality. There's these young kids, and you can't coach them the way we were coached as kids. But like,
there's no yelling and telling your trench.
Like, I don't know. Like, I started playing sports. I was 3 years old. Played 3-4 years old. I started playing soccer. My dad was up my ass every fucking day. He was playing my language. I went up and swore on the show.
100%. Of course.
So like since I'm 4 years old, now it's like, I don't know. If you have these kids' asses, like they go in like a shell and like a cocoon. It's like, I don't know. You look at them around and you offend them. I don't know. But
I can tell you.
If your coach behind the bench is always like this, and he's looking, and I sent you that picture today, Sam.
Oh my God, that picture!
It's also like this, looking at what the hell is going on. And then you got the guy in the back who's like this, he doesn't know really what's going on because he's probably like 10
He's passed like, out. He's in another dimension now.
Depression stage of his life, watching these guys play hockey. And I don't know. I think maybe I think he's overwhelmed maybe a little bit. I think he needs a bit of help, to be quite honest, behind the bench. And yes, you want to learn on the job, but at a certain point, this is what, our third 8-game slide in the same season? In what league does the coach still have a job after this? And what sport? I think in badminton, if you go on an 8-game losing streak, they'll fire you as well. But you know what? He's got the benefit of the doubt of having Gordon and having Hughes behind him, and he seems to be their guy. But if you're going to make a move, now's the time. You got 12 days to do it.
No, they won't. They're not going to let go Marty.
And It seems the message ain't coming through, and he's got to find a way to get it through because it ain't coming through. And we're at the same stage we were last year, points wise, if I'm not mistaken. If not, I think even a bit lower than we were last year.
I think we're a point or two less.
There you go.
For sure.
So we're not really seeing that progress that we, if we didn't have that let's say that 10, 12 game run that we had, we'd be down in the league, not even
for sure.
And we'd be drafting first overall. Which can be likely, the considering how the games are kind of going here the next little while. But the break is good. Are they going to make some moves during the break? You're going to lose a guy like Evans most likely.
But that's the question now.
Yeah.
But that's the question now. I mean, 2 weeks ago we were in the mix and we were fighting for that spot.
Yep.
And a lot of talks of, okay, Evans was on the market. Now he's out of the market because we're fighting for that spot. We need a guy like Evans. But now you're back to the talks of, are we back to the rebuild talk? Are we back to?
Well, we're still the rebuild. But
yes, but
here's the thing, Anthony. All they needed was just 2 wins. You give them another 2 wins. That's 4 points. They would be at.
But that's
59.
What I said.
They would be at 59 points. You would just be at 2 points behind that.
That's what
final wild card spot.
Well,
this is how close it is, though.
But look, San Jose, the night we beat San Jose was the night I thought it was going to turn things around because we needed that win in San Jose. Now, LA, we understood they were one of the best defensive teams in the league.
Yeah, my God.
We still had a chance there. It was 3 goals and 6-3, whatever. But it was a back-to-back late-night game. They were tired. But to me, what I said was the New Jersey, Edmonton, and Tampa, those 3 next games, you win all 3 or at least 2 out of the 3, you're back into the mix because you're beating Tampa, who was at the last wildcard spot. You're beating Jersey, who's up there too. And then Edmonton, whatever, they're in the West. But those 3 games, 4 out of 6 points would have easily turned things around. And then you go lose all fucking 3.
Well, here's some of the things I think is the problem. Right now, teams figured out Patrick Laine on the power play.
Yeah.
And right now, and this season, Patrick Laine, I always loved Patrick Laine, but everything he's been through physically and mentally, I always knew that he's got just one weapon, and that's the shot, and that's going to be used on the power play. His skating is not back to where it once was. I don't think his conditioning is at 100% either. And so that's why you got shades of him being lazy, and now that's why Marty's putting him on the 4th line or sometimes even benching him for the entire 3rd period. So you got that going on. On defense, you lost Gooley. You lose. I love Chris. Thank God you mentioned the loss of Heineman, because a couple of games after Heineman went down, they were putting in Pizzetta, but the team still had enough energy to double shift a couple of lines, like Marty was doing. Marty was double shifting Suzuki. He was double shifting Evans. He was double shifting Josh Anderson on that line. But 1,000%, Heineman was the glue of that of the entire 4 lines.
Yeah, which makes you question what's really going on. But listen, he was 3rd in rookie goals when he got hurt.
He's insane. Doing that on the 4th line, getting opportunities on the 2nd power play. I really think they because listen, they were going balls to the wall, playing hard, but there's only so many games you could play that way when you're really playing 11 forwards out of 12. Pizzetta, we love the guy as a paisano, but 5 minutes a night, he ain't gonna do much. Caden Gooley goes down, so that puts a bit of the dent on defense. Love Sam Montembeault, love Jakub Dobeš, but right now they're not holding the fort either. I listen. I'm gonna say this. I will say this about Sam Montembeault, and it might go against the narrative of our province, local boy, un gars de chez nous, like we say in French. I love that he's a pro. He's a team. He actually is a team player, team guy first. At the end of the day, Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes drafted Jacob Fowler for a reason.
Right.
And that reason is Jacob Fowler is, in their minds and in their hearts, going to be the future number one goaltender of this team.
Yep.
Okay. It's not going to be Sam Montembeault. I'm sorry to the Montembeault lovers. It's not going to happen. I don't even think it's going to be Jakob Dobeš to be the number one. Maybe one or the other is going to be a good backup to Jacob Fowler when he takes the number one. But I'm sorry.
I agree with you there. Listen, realistically, if we're being honest to ourselves, which we never are as Canadians fans, because we always have this we always have this
soft spot. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But like you said, Fowler is the future of this team. Fowler is most likely that guy who will get you to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, he's 3 years away. If we're being honest.
I would say, you know what? I would say in 2 years. I truly think, Chris, look,
going into his third, that third year, after having spent, let's say, a year and a half to 2 years in the AHL, he'll be ready to come.
Here's what I'm going to predict, and I love what Caden Primo's doing in Laval, 10-0. Like that was, but see, the thing is about Caden Primo, that was never the issue. I knew he was gonna play well in the minors because he does play well in the minors, but for some reason he just can't make that jump. Despite him playing well, I think he's gone at the end of the year, and they're giving that number one spot in Laval to Jacob Fowler for a full season, and then they're going to evaluate after that.
I agree, and that's what they should do. I agree to 100%. That's what they should do. To be quite honest, I'm sure that he'll probably be a part of that Frozen Four, so we probably won't see him maybe this year.
I don't think so. Right now, he's playing in the there's the Beanpot tournament going on.
Yeah.
And last I checked, I'm gonna look it up right now. It's actually live on TSN. It's on one of the TSN channels. It's commercial break. But before we started recording this episode, Boston College was beating Boston University 1-0. So it's basically Jacob Fowler versus Cole Hudson. Lane Hudson's a little. By the way, he's that kid's insane too. But you guys mentioned Jake Evans. Pierre LeBrun fucking broke the Montreal internet and said that there has been talks. Seems like they're nowhere near. They're not as close yet, but there's still time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that Kent Hughes is and either has been getting offers or will be getting offers. And that Jake Evans, I think the other day he said, listen, it's been an honor playing for the Canadiens, the history and all that. I grew up here, the time I spent here, I love it here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here we go. I think we got the score. I think Boston University 2, Boston College 1. Yeesh. Okay. 2-1 Boston University over the Eagles. Okay. Jake Evans.
Yeah.
Man, this is listen, I'm going to put my foot down on this thing. I really think 3.5 maximum $4 million for 4 years. I got to go with that. I like Jake Evans. I love what he does on the penalty kill. Him and Armia, one of the best penalty killers, if not probably the best penalty killer duo in the league. Teams are going to ask for Armia as well, but I don't think he's worth more than $4 million. Even if the cap is going up, I get we need role players like him. I really, really do at 28, 29. But I don't know, man.
It's funny that we're talking about that. I was actually talking with my brother-in-law yesterday about this, and when LeBron said they were far apart, for me, I was kind of like, and I think you're kind of, to be honest, I think you're being a bit generous with that 3.5 to 4. I was at like maybe a 275 to 325 max, and he's probably asking for that 4.5 to 5. Considering what he does, because he's a face-off guy, he's a shutdown center, and he's a PK guy. And unfortunately, he's at a point in his career where kind of like that Lehkonen type of thing, where he's at that point where you need a guy like that. You need a guy like that to win championships, but we're just not there. and he's past his development stage, and he's at that stage where he needs to go, to a team like Edmonton or to a team like Winnipeg or Colorado.
Jeez, my
You
goodness.
you said it.
He's a perfect fit for a championship team. He's like a Platinum type,
Oh, 1,000%.
So,
go, Anthony.
You couldn't say it any better. You couldn't say it any better, and that's what I was gonna say before when you brought up Mike Evans.
Jake Evans.
Jake Evans. See, I did you there. Jake Evans. All right.
Yeah.
You couldn't say it any better. To keep Jake Evans, and I think we all have that love for him because of the 2021 run. And he's just an awesome player, and he's a great asset to win you games and win a championship.
Yeah.
Now we have to ask that question as management, not as fans, because at the end of the day, our opinions don't really matter to them. But between Gorton, Hughes, and Marty and everybody else, you got to ask this question: how far are we away from contending? How far are we away from making the playoffs? And that will determine your decision of Jake Evans, because I was going to say Mike Evans.
You almost said it again.
You got to make that decision based on that, because if you can get value now for him,
yeah,
but knowing that you're not going to make the playoffs or contend the next 2-3 years,
yeah,
then yes, let's get rid of him. But again, what are we getting rid of him for? Because if we're going to get rid of him for another fucking second round pick or whatever, then I think it's just a waste of getting rid of a good asset like that. But you said it. Getting rid of
at the same time, I agree that it might be a waste, but we're still in this kind of progression and building stage of this rebuild.
Yeah,
we are not close. We'll go on those little 7-8 games where we look pretty good and we look like we get excited, but we are not close to winning a championship. He's a luxury we just can't afford right now. So at the end of the day, it's like, you know what, maybe that second round pick could become a Jake Evans in 3-5 years time when we actually need him.
I totally agree with that. I get the feeling. Yeah, it does. It does suck, but like that's the cost of business. I get the feeling. I don't know if the salary numbers are what they're struggling with, or if it's the term of the contract, like how many years. Like if he's asking for more than 4 years, that brings him to the age of 32, 33. I'm not sure that's what management wants at the moment. I get the feeling that's maybe that the hesitation they have into coming up with a deal. I also believe I think Owen Beck showed us things that he can. I think he's showing us that he can be ready for the show. He's obviously doing well in Laval. He's doing very well in the minors. But now the question, and he's a face-off guy too. But what I question is it smart to put a rookie, which he's still a rookie, whether he makes the team full-time next year? Is it smart enough, or is it fair to him to put all that responsibility on him to win those face-offs in the defensive zone on the penalty kill when it really matters? Because let's be honest, if Evans doesn't come back, that's going to hurt. I truly believe Christian Dvorak is not coming back. So who are you having as your centerman? Are you going to put Owen Beck? I know Oliver Kapanen is doing well. Are they ready to go to him as well as your fourth line center? You're going to have two rookies as your bottom. Michael Hage, I personally believe he's doing one more year in college. Having said all of that, boys, I really think they're going to target someone out there, another 28, 20. They're going to try to pull off a trade or sign a free agent that's same age as Evans, won't cost as much, but could probably still do the job just as good as he can. If it's via trade, they're doing the exact same style like they traded Justin Barron for Alexandre Carrier. It's someone in his late 20s who has a couple of years remaining, but is still good enough to play. That's what I think is going to happen.
It could be a good option. At the end of the day, I think kind of like, we've I think in the past we've always been a kind of sell low type of team. I think with management that we have now in place, we're a bit more head on our shoulders. If we can get what we can get for Jake, listen, Savard might go as well to a contender.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so.
a guy like Dvorak could also go to a contender just because he can win faceoffs. Like, you know, that's what he does for us. But, you know, it comes to a point where, you know, we can't have these types of guys on our roster because we just can't afford guys who can just go on the ice to win a faceoff and go back on the bench. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's to your point with Peck. It's like, do you want to put that pressure? You know what? Hey, you're in the show. There's going to be pressure on you every day. Go along.
Pressure's a privilege, I guess.
Make mistakes. We're not going to win a Stanley Cup this year. We're not going to win next year either. And we ain't going to win the year after that. Okay, because we're so many pieces away.
But hold on. To that point. Sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but to that point, you say we're far.
Yeah.
But in the mindset of management, the management that we have now, okay, and I'm not saying they're bad, like they're not stupid people. We have smart people in place.
Agree.
We don't have the Benjamin who's gonna act fast and make these
compulsive mistakes, I guess.
We have management who wants to build this team properly.
Yes.
That being said, this is how I see it, and I could be wrong. But I think their mind right now, they do want to accelerate a little bit faster than what we all think. Because you're saying we're far, but the way they talk, and even that fucking stupid show that teased us that we're gonna be in the mix this year, the way they talk and saying that we're a team that is in the rebuild, but we're gonna be in the mix this year. Like, I don't see this team or management wanting to lose the next 3 seasons. I think they want to find a way to accelerate this process in the proper way, not the Benjamin way, but in a way where, because I get what you're saying, and you're right. You know, as much as I want to admit to Joey that he's, you know, we're far from being that team, and Sammy's on my side and Joey's side, like in between.
I'm trying to be as realistic as possible.
No, and I'm not saying not to be realistic. Yes, in what we have in front of us, I think, yes, we're pretty far. But I think in the mindset of our management, I think they want to accelerate this and not be a losing team for the next 3 to 5 years. Because I think
I agree. I agree, and 100%. Because
just say that one more time. You hear me?
Say again.
Say it again. Just say it one more time that you agree with me.
That's for Joey.
Perfect.
I totally. I mean, obviously, they want to fast track. Everybody wants to fast track. Like we haven't won a cup in since before my sister was born, and she's getting married in 2 days. Like, like it's
that's her. Congratulations to her.
Yeah, we're getting married in Italy, but they're
Oh my God! Wow.
You guys should come.
We should.
Yeah, just come.
I'm packing my bags right now.
Yes, we want to accelerate, yes, but we got to be realistic here. Demidov is still in Russia.
Yep.
He's got to come here, and he's got to figure out how to play in North America, which I don't think he'll have a problem with. To be quite honest,
he's so good. Oh my God,
he's that guy that we've been kind of waiting for. Okay, that's kind of their centerpiece. Suzuki will take a kind of a backseat to that. Caulfield will take a backseat to that, which is not a bad thing.
It's okay. I've said it. That's fine.
If we're being truthful to ourselves, is Suzuki, when we win a cup, he'll be your number 2 center. Okay?
Wow.
He will not be your number 1 center. Because in 4 or 5 years' time, he'll be 30 years old.
Jeez, already, my God.
In 4 years, let's say, when Fowler's in his kind of coming around, when we're going to win phase, and we're going to, that's let's say in 2, like you said, Anthony, before, maybe in that second seat, that 2 years maybe with the Fowler, we're going to start that window. That'll be maybe hopefully a 10-year window, a 7 to 10-year window that we can be competitive and in the mix and trying to compete for these championships. Suzuki will be 28, 29, 30 by that time.
Yeah.
So you got to draft a few more guys. if we can find another player in the second round or in the first round or what have you.
Or maybe I'm being unrealistic or dreaming a little bit.
A little bit.
But this is how I envisioned it. Okay, and this is not me talking with my biasness of being a Habs fan. I'm talking about how management made it seem. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think
they kind of put that out that we were going to be better, much better than we were last year. And
I never said we were going to win this year.
Not
make the playoffs. But I said, and I thought, and this was my vision. This is the picture that I had, and I'm hoping I'm still right or even wrong. I don't know, but this year was the year that we were fighting for a wild card.
Yeah.
And I even said at the beginning of the season, we're not making the playoffs.
But we're going to be fighting. We agreed on that.
Before the wild card.
Yeah.
Like the Detroit Red Wings of last year, that they needed that last 2 wins to make it.
Yeah.
And then Philly gets it or whatever.
Yeah, they won, but Philly, That's
where I thought this year was going to be. And then next year, playoffs. Not contending, just a playoff team, meaning we're going to go to the first round, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're going
to get to the second or losing the first, losing the second, but not a third round, fourth round, whatever. Yeah. And then year 3 was either playoffs, still almost contending talk, but not there yet, but still possibility. And then year 4 was a contending. That was my vision.
I'm on that same timeline, to be quite honest.
Now, I don't know.
I think a lot of us were. Here's the thing. Kirby Dach's injury caused a major setback to this whole plan, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, it like Doc and Ryan, 1,000%. Like those injuries caused a major setback in their plans, and right now, I actually believe. I truly believe they're thinking of backups to Doc and Liney if they don't work out, and they got 1 year left in their contract at the end of the season. I also personally believe that's why they drafted Michael Hage, in the hopes of if it doesn't work out with Doc, do we put Doc do we put Michael Hage there, put Doc either on the wing, or do we trade him for somebody else that can do the job? Also,
put Doc at 3C. Put Doc at 3C. Or put Arnold at 3C and put Doc on the wing, and then have Doc at 4. And then you have Hage at 2, and make him develop at 2, and make him play with Demidov and Arnold. You know, you tell me that the line of Hage, let's say Hage, Line, and Demidov are not going to produce points?
You know what though? I'm just going to throw an olive branch out there. Juraj Slafkovsky was removed off of that first line, that top line with Suzuki and Caulfield, was put on the third line with Dvorak and Gallagher, and he looked really good. He looked he was carrying that line.
He had a bit of fire for that, so they had
1,000%. If it shows that Slafkovsky is slowly starting to play better without Suzuki and Caulfield, I'm just going to throw this out there. Maybe we're going to be seeing Ivan Demidov on the top line with Suzuki and Caulfield next year.
But can I say something?
I would not be against that. I wouldn't be against that, to be 100% honest with you.
Which we know he can, obviously, from what he's been doing, and he's ready to play. Make him play, but you have to put him with a centerman that knows how to play hockey.
Well, that's the other thing too.
You can't put him with Doc because
that's the thing. It's 200-foot game is not there.
I love the kid, but he doesn't have his ass from his elbow right now.
I love him too. But
he's got to figure out. And is he a centerman? Is he that kind of guy thing? Or is he a centerman? Can he play? Yes.
Oh my God! That was the biggest. That was.
I think is going to be that guy for you. He could be. If they moved up in the draft to get this guy,
there's a reason.
There's a reason for it. Okay, and I love things I think kind of pissed that they did that and they were able to get him because he was a sought-out guy. Now, for what he's been doing in Michigan, it's been great. He looks good. He's gaining confidence. Yep. Is he going to be ready to come in and play in Montreal next year? Maybe not. Does he play another year of college, like you said? Does he go to live out? Who knows? But when we need him to be, he'll be that guy that will need him at maybe a 2C at the right time, coming in with Demidov, and away we go.
I just want to point something out, though, as far as timelines are concerned, and this is going to kind of tie back to your comment about Marty, and one of the reasons why he's getting the benefit of the doubt. I really think this management wants to see how Marty can coach not just Uri Slafkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield, but listen, the rebuild started at that draft. The day they drafted Uri Slafkovsky, boom, start the clock. The rebuild begins right now, as soon as they picked him. So then 1 year into the rebuild, they draft Reinbacher and Fowler. Year 2, we call it year 3, but it's actually start the second draft. It's the third draft, but within the 2-year mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they drafted Demidov. There's still, Chris, you mentioned this. There's still all those pieces that got to be put into play, and then we're gonna see, and then we'll see if Marty can really. What's he going to do there? I really think management is going to get the proper veterans they need to replace the Armias, the Savards, the Dvoraks. Eventually, the Gallagher and the Anderson contracts are going to come to an end, so we'll see what they do with them. It's there's still a couple of years, man. There's still a couple of years.
Can I say something in regards to accelerating the process in a smart way?
Mm-hmm.
Don't shoot me. No Habs fans out there who's ever listening to this, do not shoot me.
I'm ready.
Hear me out. Or just this is
thought.
Just to speculate here, or just a what if scenario.
It's a thought.
Would you agree with it, or even think is a possibility? Now, we all know Suzuki is your franchise player. I think Suzuki will be there forever. He's going to be the guy who's going to be wearing the ski, and if ever we win the cup, he's going to be the one raising it with us. But do you see Caulfield as our franchise player? I'm not saying this because I don't like him. I love the guy. I do not want to lose him. I think he is an amazing asset, and he's going to be the guy for us. But to quote-unquote accelerate the process, because you're saying we're missing a lot of pieces, and the only way you grow is you take risks, do you see a possibility that Caulfield is tradable for a big blockbuster trade to get 2 pieces for that one to accelerate your process? Because right now, let's say we're missing 2 big holes. You get rid of Caulfield to cover those 2 big holes, and you see this whole big blockbuster trade. I had this conversation with someone yesterday. I was at the game with a friend of mine, and I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that, do you see Caulfield tradable in the Montreal Canadiens?
I think it's a good question, because to get pieces, you need to give pieces. Mm-hmm. I think it will depend a lot on Demidov. It will depend a lot on how Slafkovsky comes into his own. Mm-hmm. If we see that Slav can start putting the puck in the net, maybe not at a 40-goal pace, but maybe we can get closer to that 25 to 30 range.
25, yeah, exactly, yeah.
And if Demidov, knock on wood, let's hope that he's, the second coming here. We don't know. But he's that guy we're looking for. If we see that he's able to start putting the puck in the net, then you know what? Caulfield at $8 million, that wherever he's at, is a very tradable piece, especially with the cap going up. We're going to have about $50 million or so in play to play with. So to trade a Caulfield for a centerman, yeah, I definitely think about that 100%, because we that's something that we don't have. Something that we need.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it's the fans out there.
Are you going to stick around? One knows. If he does, we're going to get him at half his salary if he wants to stay.
1,000%. Oh no, there's no way they're signing him at $8 million. No, for sure.
So if he wants to stick around, he's listen. Everyone's on his ass. He's lazy. He's this. Listen, he's coming off God knows what happened in his life. He's coming off an injury. You know what? There's only 8 games that he's played in where he hasn't had a point. He's played in the fucking team in goals. He's played
already
half the games. I don't care if they're on the power play or I don't care where they're. A goal is a goal. If the goalie scores, it's a goal. It doesn't matter where it comes from. So he's third, fourth on the team in goals. If he can give you those goals down the line, but at 4 million, at 4.5 million, here I'll give you that, no problem. You want to stick around the next few years? You're 26 years old. He'll be the same age as Suzuki in that kind of time frame that we had. You know, you want to be a part of this process? Do you want to bring your buddies along? The ones that we've heard about from Winnipeg, they want maybe, I think it's Ehlers, I believe.
Nikolai Ehlers, yeah.
You know, does he kind of say, hey, this is what's going on in Montreal? You know, listen, everybody talks to each other. You talk to everybody talks. This is what's going on. You want to come be a part of it? Hey, everybody know. The cap's going up. Say, hey, McDavid, here's 20 million.
Oh my God, I would love that. Listen, and
the Father Time has been good to Sid the Kid, and then it's kind of everybody's dream to see these colors. Maybe in 2-3 years he comes along and finishes here. Who knows how things are going to play? Realistically, Anthony, to come back to what you're saying, yeah, he can be that tradable piece to go get what you're looking for, maybe down the middle or maybe down the back end on defense as well.
I will say this, and then we'll wrap things up. I have a personal. I think like all Habs fans out there, we get so attached to these players. I truly believe Caulfield can be that. I think he's going to reach 30 goals this year for the first time in his career.
Yeah,
I think with another proper line mate, he maybe can reach 40. And I will say this: the day the Canadiens become actual contenders, when they make the playoffs and they could fight to go as far as possible, the day they do that is the day they have a couple of players that are better than Cole Caulfield. Because right now, your number one and your number two top forwards on this team are Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. The day that it comes where Ivan Demidov is better than both Suzuki and Caulfield, if, based on potential, Juraj Slafkovsky can be an overall better player than Cole Caulfield. I'm not saying a better goal scorer. I think Cole Caulfield can be that best goal scorer. But if Juraj Slafkovsky can be that overall better player than Cole Caulfield, then this team is going to go far. But until then, right now, I don't want to see Caulfield go unless we're getting an almost guaranteed superstar. Like
100%. No, it's not. I know what you're saying. For Slav and for Demidov and these guys to become who we hope they will become, it takes time.
It does take time.
We are not patient. We are not a patient fan.
No, we are definitely are not.
Yesterday, right?
No,
yesterday, and it's just not going to happen. But it takes time, and I think that they drafted those guys, those pieces, and it kind of reminds me of, I don't know, you probably remember this when we were playing Nintendo, the ice hockey game. Remember that game?
Yeah. Oh my
ice
God.
Hockey. We had the skinny guy, the big guy, and the
I remember that.
Slafkovsky and Caulfield, that's what I see. I
remember that game.
The big bruiser, and I see the goal scorer, the speedy guy. So
that's so funny.
You need balance, right? You need balance, and that's going to take some time. And
that's amazing.
I don't know how we're going to be able to. We need help down the middle.
Yeah.
100%. Everybody needs that, but that's what we've lacked. Now with Suzuki, we've seen a little bit of what type of player we need down the middle, which, he's that 200-foot guy, but you need that breakout superstar player. And we're hoping that it's Demidov. By the way it's looking, it will be him. And, let's just hope and pray that he can deliver what we all expect him to.
We're going to call him Ivan Demigod in Montreal. There you go. So just to remind everyone, the Four Nations tournament starts Wednesday, 8:00. Team Canada versus Sweden, and then it goes on from there. The Canadiens will be back on Saturday, the 22nd, against the Ottawa Senators. My God. So it's a full week, almost a full week and a half of them taking a break. So we'll come back with content during this Four Nations tournament. But I think we could call this one a wrap, boys. I don't know how you guys think.
Sounds great.
Almost past my bedtime. Yeah. Look, Chris, once again, really, really, really appreciate you taking the time to not only talk about what it was like winning a championship in the CFL, being a Grey Cup champion, but also hearing your take on Super Bowl and hearing your take on our dear Montreal Canadiens. It actually shows that you're a fan and you study the game and you study these players too. We truly, truly, truly appreciate your time. If anybody's interested, can you tell our audience members if they want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
Yeah, no, first of all, thanks again for having me. It's been a blast. I hope we can do this again.
Absolutely,
many times, and it'd be nice to meet you guys in person. Obviously, maybe go grab a beer or something, and
1,000%
from each other. So we'll have nice places around here that we can go meet up. And
absolutely.
But yeah, if you guys want to follow me, it's Chris_Milo, Milo 30 on Instagram.
There you go.
Post my dogs and my little girl and
your dog is beautiful. That dog of yours is beautiful. I love dogs. I love German Shepherds. They're like my favorite creatures on the planet almost.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll get to meet them one day.
Hopefully, yeah.
But so if you want to follow me there, no problem. And thanks again. It's been great. And yeah, like I said, can't wait to see you guys.
Awesome. Well, listen, to all our audience members, thanks for tuning in live on YouTube and Instagram. We might have had technical difficulties at the beginning, but thank you nonetheless. Please like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Tell your friends about us, and you can follow us on Instagram as well, the Curfew Boys Podcast. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. I don't know if we have any others somewheres out there, but and also all of our episodes available audio format, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Anthony, buddy, enjoy some time off from the Canadiens, but enjoy the Four Nations tournament. Chris, buddy, thank you so much again for your time. Gentlemen, have a good night. Really, really, really appreciate you guys doing this. You're going to have to join us on this one, Chris. Until next time.
Bye now.
Bye now. Good night.